SwinRadio.
This is the Plot Thickens with Cassie and Amy on SwinRadio. This is Cassie.
And this is Amy.
And it's 3 p.m. and you're listening to the Plot Thickens on SwinRadio.
We read and discuss Swinburne students' creative writing live on air every Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Sorry, I'm fixing my mic.
You had like 20 minutes to do this before.
Sorry. I was distracted. We were having an in-depth conversation.
About?
I don't want to talk about it.
We were talking about the Omegaverse. Anyway. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, some of us are going straight to bed and some of us aren't.
Some of us are going out.
And some of us are waking up early. But what all of us are doing are listening to... I'm really excited for this. This high fantasy story. And it's actually not a short story this time. It was written originally as a short story. It now serves as a, I believe, prologue or first chapter. Introduction. We'll get into it. This is The Fading Light by B. Lovat, one of Swinburne's creative writing students. I'm super pumped for this.
I'm so pumped.
This is a long story and I'm reading it, so everyone's
so
gotta,
give us a second.
Everyone's got to like really lock in, including me. I'm so excited.
And let's just jump into it.
Also just jump right into it. Okay, I think we know who we're voice acting. Are you so ready?
I mean, if there's a pause, I'll know too.
Yeah, you'll know that I'm locked
and
out.
if you give me a glare, I'll also know to go.
What if I kick you like really aggressively?
Is
Get
that
into
the
like
lone
the spirit.
alpha side of you?
I don't want to do this with you anymore. I want a new host. I don't even want a new co-host.
No.
All right. The Fading Light. Solmara gleamed like a dream of heavens made of marble. At dawn, the sunlight struck the city's citadel, spirals and split into 1,000 golden shards that danced across the domes of the glass and rooftops of pearlescent marble. Bells poured music through the air, the hum of ambulant life ringing from every corner. Incense drifted in ribbons of silver smoke, sweet and sanctified. Below, the people lifted their faces to the light, their eyes glowing a warm golden with the blessing of the undying light. For 3 centuries, no child had wailed in mortal pain, no elders had drawn a final breath. Death had been banished when the celestial pantheon removed them from the order of creation. The gods had sealed away their own kind, the dark divinities of such cruelties as decay and ending. The world had rejoiced. But on that golden evening, the rejoicing faltered. A funeral procession wound through Solmara's radiant streets. Templars clad in white carried 3 caskets draped in crescent banners, drapes that had not seen the light of day in lifetimes. The people crowded close, bodies pressed tight, murmuring disbelief. "It's a test," one hushed voice whispered, the murdered words rippling through the frozen crowd. "They'll bring them back, they always do." At the temple steps, the high clerics stood, draped in golden robes, their identities obscured by ornamental veils, beginning the rite. Hands rose towards the sun, ushering the last strands of its undying light towards the ones so unlucky. Faith glinted in the air, the caskets lay open. But even as the last rays of daylight fell, the light recoiled. The bodies inside were wrong. Their skin black-veined, their foreheads carved with runes that pulsed like dying embers. The scent of copper cut through incense. The bodies did not stir. The corpses remained, the first in 3 long centuries. A tremor passed through the crowd. The chant of praise died on their tongues. For the first time in the unending lifetime, the people of Solmara lay truly, irrevocably dead. When the summons had sounded the next morning, Kale knew that it was the Order's attempt to smother this tarnish on their faith. Before the first threads of light danced in the air that morn, Kale had spied 4 figures knelt before the High Seer in the sanctum of the Order of the Undying Light. The strands of morning sun filtered through stained glass, painting the newly formed company in honeyed radiance. "Faithful," said the High Seer, his voice thin as smoke. "The light wanes, shadows stir beneath our streets. You will dissent and cleanse the hearsay that dares to unmake the eternity. Following the lead of Thalen, they bowed and rose. Cale heard whispers through the kitchens overnight. The Templar had taken the assignment with feverish devotion, driven, they said, by his unspoken devotion to his oath to safeguard the undying light. It had been at the High Seer's order that Cale was to join the company, their guide through the Undercity, a child thief, branded for the bread they gave to the hungry. The light struck the faces of the company as they departed the sanctum, kindling gold within their eyes. May the light guide us, Thalen said. Cale trudged reluctantly behind the party. Elira, a cleric of the undying light, tilted her head, bathing in the remnants of the warming rays. Her eyes flickered the brightest gold beneath the setting sun. A pendant made from orange copper hung from her neck, its curling wires in an infinite Mobius loop.
And may the world prove worthy of its gaze.
The light seemed to ripple off her order gown, tucked beneath her arm a half-helm, the sheer veil of the order to safeguard her eyes and identity. The Templar gave her a look before she pulled her helm on. They descended into the city's lower rings, where the glow of marble gave way to mildew and soot. Sunlight thinned to a hazy smear above rooftops, crowded close as ribs. Children watched from doorways, their eyes dull bronze in the shade, fatigue holding their figures, the weight of the working class and religious enforced slavery pressed down on their shoulders. Elira watched silently as Cale dropped a copper into one of the hands of a grimy child.
It's a shame the light forgets the ones it can't reach.
The cleric's comment surprised the child thief. Careful, Thalen warned. The order blesses us with their will. Cale glimpsed at the cleric, unable to discern her expression from beneath the thin veil, but they noted how the cleric gently toyed with the copper pendant. Without waiting for further commentary, Cale continued to lead the party through the Undercity and towards the abandoned catacombs. Every person, every child they passed, held Cale's gaze. A silent judgment, an unheard scream in protest, smothered by the unaging curse of the undying light. Cale led the company through the Undercity, through the slums, overcrowded with the starved, a population of children, barred from ever holding rank, held hostage by an age they couldn't change. The mage scholar in their rank, Mira, waved the group to a halt, her fingers brushing over the walls, once painted with angels, now peeling in damp strips, angry, charred script, scribbled in a forgotten language over the tattered divine art.
Decay.
She translated.
Everywhere the blessing gathers, rot follows. Too much life. Nothing dies to feed the soil.
Cale fidgeted, the unspoken gazes heavy on their shoulders. Something in the air was shifting, unnervingly. We shouldn't loiter. The company heeded their warning, holding swiftly into the city's slums. A quiet sadness fell over Cale as they led the party past the long-abandoned orphanage. Those rotting walls holding memories from a time before the unaging, from a time when Cale had lived life as a child. Cale notices Thalen's surprise when the entrance to the catacombs was not beneath a shrine whose candles burned black flames with silver smoke. There was no door sealed in runes of gold guarding the entrance. Instead, there was simply an iron gate at the entrance of a long-dried aqueduct, which sat at the end of the street in the slum, between the fishmonger and the disreputable tavern. The gate was held shut by a busted lock, with rusted hinges that groaned as it opened. The tunnels breathed stale air, water dropped from the ceiling in a slow rhythm. As the company pressed deeper, voices murmured, a chant low and steady, words lost to the distance. When they rounded another undefinable corner, the passage widened into a vault, lit by torches that tossed dancing crimson light across the walls. A dozen figures knelt before a pool of black water, faces hidden behind masks of shadow. Their repented chant was a melody in the thick air. Ares awoke beneath the stone. The rot is sealed, the flesh a throne. Life decays to make the whole. Each dying breath restores the soul. Without a word, Thalen's sword blazed to life with holy light, and he charged forward. Yet the chamber did not erupt into chaos. Mira's spells splattered out, finding no targets, like electricity aimlessly dancing across a damp cloth. The tracker, Denia's arrows hissed through steam, destined for figures, but phased straight through their shadowy silhouettes. But Kale stood frozen in the air, their feet stuck in a pool of unfamiliarity. I know this place. Kale's voice barely rose up above a whisper. The company turned to find the child halted at the tunnel entrance, frozen in a look of transfixed fear.
How so?
Elira's voice reflected the steady hand of compassion. In my dreams, Kale said, their voice shaky. This is where they died. The 3 departed from the square, the 3 who escaped the undying light. Denia edged forward, his fingers gingerly tracing over the boot prints in the settled dust surrounding the dark pools of shadow.
They're children.
The tracker announced, looking up at the stalled company.
Whoever was here, whoever handled the bodies.
The cult of night, Kale breathed, realization washing over them. It's a cult of children. I've heard their call, we all have.
We?
Elira asked from behind her veiled helm. Those of us worst affected by the unaging.
You mean the undying?
The cleric said. Kale turned away, the topic pulling at painful strings. Isn't it all the same? No one answered.
Whoever made this ritual lies deeper.
Denai said, turning back to the company.
Then we venture deeper.
Elira. I just got her name 100 times. Elira said. The simplicity of her suggestion immediately obeyed. The stairwell that led them down towards seemed to coil forever. The walls grew slick, warm to the touch, as though the stone itself breathed. The air tasted of earth and rain, of something living far below. They entered a vast chamber where ancient murals climbed the walls, painted in divine worship, gods radiant and shadowed together, hand in hand. As the party's torches swept across the towering murals, the story changed. War among the divine, the radiant host tearing apart their darker kin. One figure fell, her eyes painted red, her hands open in surrender. Mira's voice was reverent.
The Golden didn't destroy them, they imprisoned them.
Then they must never wake, Thalen said. Kale grumbled, their voice low. Tell that to the rot eating your city. No one spoke as they pressed deeper. They passed each of the Golden, painted in divine radiance, their names and domains reflected in the iconography that framed them. Raylu, her auburn hair reflected in the wrathful fire of her great sword, her godly domain of warfare lined with golden victory. Naira, his blessed arrow wrapped in the fruitful vines of spring. They passed each of the divine, pausing even when their eyes fell on the depictions of the forgotten. Silence held the company until they reached the final wall, the largest mural. 2 women, fingers entwined, domains in stark opposition. Andriel, Kale breathed in recognition of the first figure. Framed by her crown of golden hair, the creator of... Oh my goodness. Sorry. The creator of the undying light, her golden spear radiating the dawn rays she commands. Beside the golden goddess, a goddess of shadows gazed from the mural, tall, robed in whimsy black lace, hair like the infinite night sky, and eyes, a red that seemed to glow gold within the dimness. Her expression was not wrathful, but soft, as they gazed upon her other half, as if from love. Beneath the frame, the inscription read, Andriel and Ares, goddesses of beginnings and endings, guardians of Fenurim. Kale squinted. Huh, those eyes kind of look like you. They turned. Elra stood behind the company, her veil lifted. Her face was calm, her gaze softened by a sorrow older than the laws of this world. The faint gold of divine blessings soft across her skin. But as the light shifted, Kale realized that the irises of her eyes glimmered, not gold, but a deep, living color, the color of the mural's gaze. For a heartbeat, no breath sounded. The world shimmered, like the surface of a pond being disturbed by falling rain. Familiarity washed over Kale once again as the company faded from existence. The nodding Kale stomach tightens, the illusions falling to leave them alone, staring at the crimson-eyed figure. "What is this?" Kael's voice was a hiss.
Who am I?
Elira's voice rang through the room. "That's asking, not telling," the child breathed. "Who are you?"
You know who I am.
Elira turned to face Kael, her expression painted with patience. At Kael's silence, she took a step forward with clasped hands.
Who am I?
"I don't know." Kael's voice was barely above a whisper.
What's my necklace made of?
The child's eyes darted down to the spiraled metal pendant. "Copper." The word escaped Kael's lips without thought.
Who am I?
The figure asked again, pulling her necklace loose and gently placing it in the child's hand. "I don't know," Kael repeated.
What's my necklace made of?
Kael's gaze dropped to the copper pendant, to the cool green veins of oxidization that chased away the once bright orange shine. "No!" Kael ripped their hands free of the figure's grasp. Elira turned to look up at the portrait, and when she spoke, her voice was not loud, but vast, as if spoken by the air itself.
Death does not need awakening.
Her voice echoed, vast and resonant. The chamber trembled as she turned back to the unaged child. The red within her eyes deepened.
I have always been here.
"In order to grow, we must decay," Kael breathed, their fingers trembling as they closed around the oxidizing pendant.
Welcome, my child.
Eris smiled.
Today, we reclaim the future that was stolen from you and every generation that is yet to come.
Far above, in the shining city of Salmara, the last flickers of sunlight waned. Night's breath swept through the streets like a sigh of relief. It was like even the heavens knew something patient and long forgotten had opened its eyes beneath the world. The end. Yay!
Alright, you start.
that.
I'm gonna take my jumper off in the corner.
I can start by saying that I crushed that story.
I was very impressed.
I only studied like 40 times. Yeah. Okay. I want to start by saying that this is so much fun. I feel like I don't read much high fantasy anymore. It's not actually as big as the genre of just like fantasy and YA novels is. It's always set or you commonly find it set either like in a dystopian universe or in something that's like semi-fantasy. One of the things that B said that they wanted for this world is high fantasy, and I love that. I feel like it's I really only see it in like D&D games and stuff. I did feel very like, you're not gonna understand, like, very Matt Mercer, Brendan Lee Mulligan, reading that out. I was like, oh my
God.
God.
Know those names.
It's like, this is so DM coded, Dungeon Master coded.
Yeah, I did want to say, because I don't read fantasy like at all. It just has never interested me, especially since a lot of that genre is like romance. I don't care for romance or anything.
I'm not a big fan either, I will say.
But I love these types of stories that is a group of people.
Very found family.
Yeah.
That tracks for us.
Not so much in this story.
No, but not so much. No, everyone did disappear at the end except for our girl boss. She has a few names. Elira.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm adjusting the mic again. Elira, but her actual form, which is, how did I say it? Ares. Yeah. Very simple.
Yeah.
I'm curious if these are based off of anything. I don't think.
Well, I mean, Eris is the goddess of
the
discord
night.
And well, in Greek mythology.
In Greek mythology.
Which also I know nothing about Greek mythology as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ares actually was the day, not the night.
I wouldn't have a damn clue.
I wouldn't have a damn clue. All right. I know you said you had a few starter things.
I do. I just want to say the imagery in this story is crazy.
The sensory language?
Oh my God. And you know we love sensory language.
I was falling over my feet in this paragraph. Like, the description of, like, the smells and the scents and the sounds, and even, like, how it, like, poured through the air, and you can almost get, like, a visual that, like, we're at the top of, like, a bell tower, and, like, we're feeling the hum of the bells, like, spread through the city.
And it's not like it's just mentioned once. Like, we go back to things all the time. There's the mention of the incense, and then there's the copper smell.
Yeah, overpowering the incense.
Yeah. which...
That was so good.
Yes.
Especially the hint towards copper being right at the start, the scent of copper cut through the incense. That's about in like the like fifth paragraph or something, and obviously that ties back at the end when, what is my necklace made out of?
Yeah.
Copper.
I did love copper throughout the entire story.
Because copper has such a strong like smell to it.
And also copper is something that naturally ages.
It is. It's also something that people relate to, like how blood tastes or smells.
Yes.
That kind of like thick tanginess, I suppose. There's a lot of ways you could take copper, but yeah, I especially love how in this city where like the people or the other gods have banished gods, this thing where it's like copper, it like doesn't die, it like changes. It's perfect. I love it. Sorry, I said you should start and then I immediately cut you off.
That's okay. I don't even care. You just hate me.
Well, no, I love you. Let's keep going.
Okay. I did just like two nitpicky things just in the very beginning paragraph. Was just the repetition of marble sort of takes you out of it a little bit, because marble is mentioned twice in the same sentence, I believe. And then below, the people below lifted their faces to the light. Just cut one of them out. That's it. Yeah, I just wanted to mention two lines that I did absolutely love.
Oh, I've got some of those too, so let's do yours first.
Cool. Not seeing the light of day in lifetimes. I like that because it already sets up the expectation that these people, like, it's been lifetimes since they've aged. I love that a lot.
Let's actually remember that because I wanted to touch on that in a minute.
Okay. And crowded close as ribs. This, like, to explain, like, going further down the rings as well. I love that because it also portrays, like, the grittiness of it.
To me, it almost felt like a body. Like, we're going from, like, the head or the crown, especially if we're doing something so divine, going down to, like, the ribs, like, it's suffocating and, like, sharp. This ability to, like, collapse on itself.
Yeah.
I loved that. Some of the lines that I loved were a silent judgment, an unheard scream in protest. I love that. With how, like, these children, and how children's almost used as, like, a title. Because these children, obviously, they're not kids.
They're not children anymore.
They're adult minds and, like, souls in children's bodies. So the use of children is, like, a title, almost, like a way to describe a person. So that being, like, the unheard scream in protest, like, how they've been silenced, how they've been stopped from aging, stopped from, like, being able to, you know, fight in wars, it mentions. They can't go any further. They can't hold ranks or anything. Like, it's just so good how, like, it ties it all together, even in... Because I know we talk about sensory language, but also, like, the lack of sensory language, the silent judgment. Like, it's amazing. And
also, obviously, you guys won't know this, but at one point in the story, child is put in bold, which I thought was interesting because most of the time, you know, especially at the level that we're at, people often use italics. So it is very interesting. Are you looking for it?
I am, because I had to copy to a different... Oh, sorry. I had to copy to a different form, so I lost it a little bit.
There it is. Every child they passed held Kale's gaze. Child is in bold, which I thought was a very interesting choice, and I really like that. Because it's emboldening it. I don't know. I just thought it was nice to see that instead of italics.
Yeah. There are italics in this story as well, which I like. I do like at the end, just to touch on it super quickly, when Ares is saying, "Welcome, my child," because this can be taken like so many different ways. Obviously, as like the successor to Ares, like Ares is going to take Kale under her wing and like kind of raise. I suppose raise is the wrong word, but bring him up in like her light or her
like
darkness.
A mentor.
I suppose. Yeah, like a mentor, or as like the title, like "Welcome, my child." Someone, you know, because there is that implication of like, it's very found family, you know, there's usually like the found parent and they like raise this kid, but in this sense you can't even like raise the child. It's
because he's already raised.
But raise in like she's actually going to make him older, which is like something unheard of to him.
Also, I just want to say, because we film these episodes, my muscles look crazy right now.
Okay, we're moving past this.
If you want to see my muscles, you can go watch this video on Sweaty Jesus on YouTube.com.
We're moving past this.
Plug.
Okay, I wanted to touch a bit about the fantasy-ness of it all, but if you've got, like, more stuff before, you want to touch on that?
No, I'm happy to touch on that.
Okay, once again, this is not meant to be read as a short story. This is meant to be read as, like, a prologue or a chapter 1. And just before we get into that, actually, I'll do the fantasy stuff beforehand. Again, I'm really into fantasy. I do love all the use of, like, the words here. I do know Amy mentioned a while ago she had to look up what a few things were.
I didn't know what a seer was. Yeah. I didn't know what a celestial pantheon was.
Yeah, if your audience is people who like fantasy, I wouldn't say you need to be too concerned about that because it does, like, tie to real life pretty well with, like...
I feel like... And for people like me who don't read fantasy, I feel like it's still... Like, I had to stop and search up a few words, but just using context clues.
It doesn't really break the rhythm.
Figure stuff out, you know.
My question mostly was, or my wonder is if these are all humanoid characters in high fantasy, and obviously when it comes to things like immortality and, you know, long life, you have, like, elves or tieflings, these creatures that live for centuries. But in this case... It says they've been living for lifetimes, but also they've only been living for 3 centuries. That would not be the case with elves. They would live for a lot longer. So in my head, this is human beings, but then also high fantasy is known for having multiple species. So it's just like if the writer wanted to bring that in or tie that in any way. But yeah, this just goes out to, like, every fantasy thing. You kind of need to build your world. In fantasy, you do have complete choice. It seems like there are other species just within, like, the divine and gods and goddesses. So those creatures do exist. There's something beyond just mortals and mortal human beings. So just the choice to have, like, other species interwoven in it. Yeah, I guess I was just picturing them all as elves, but I think that's just because I read too much, like, watch too much D&D stuff.
I kind of was as well, but that's mostly just because of Delicious in Dungeon. I was thinking, was her name Marcel?
Yeah, Marcel. Yeah. I don't think we get any hint to the species, though. Like, not human or otherwise. It just describes their eyes, mostly. Golden. Yeah. Also, with fantasy, be careful when it comes to your gods, especially if your gods are very active in the story like these ones are. These gods are fighting not only humans, but also each other. So if you've got, like, these long list of gods, I know especially, like, later when they're walking through all of the murals, like, you see all of them. It does get kind of confusing a little bit because... unless you have, like, one higher power god, which I suppose this is referencing with the goddess of, like, beginning and end, they usually don't take each other out. So I don't know if the gods of, like, war and the one with the arrow and spring are just defeated or if they're just, like, chilling. Usually gods in fantasy worlds need some level of, like, worship, but it seemed like the only god being worshipped was the one who was the golden light. Which wasn't actually a god, it was something that one of the gods created. So I was a little confused about that, but if this is a longer story, there is room to branch out. Obviously, that's not necessary if it's just a prologue, but just something to think about. Just, like, how all the gods tie into it together. Because if you're creating gods of war and gods of, like, spring and, like, arrows and shooting and archery and stuff like that, but it's not actually necessary to the story, I wouldn't add it just because it does get a little confusing because... it's like, well, where did all these gods go? We know some of them were defeated, some of them were not. The evil ones, it describes them as dark ones, were defeated. I don't know if, like, war and fire and spring would be considered dark. But yeah, there is, like, a level of, like, worship and, like, religion when it comes to, like, gods and summoning. And obviously a lot of these people are very religious. They've got, like, high seers. They've got, like, clerics who are, like, you know, very religious. They get their power from their gods and all that stuff. Yeah, just something to note when it comes to that. Like, don't just have gods and powers for the sake of having them. It gets very, like, easy to do that, especially if you read, like, a lot of Greek mythology, just to have a god for everything. But if these gods are fighting each other and do have an effect on, like, the world, if they can just have the ability to remove death, they should play a larger portion in the story unless they're missing. And then there needs to be a description within the longer story of why they are missing. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for the gods.
And I have nothing to say about it. But I did want to discuss character. Because obviously there's a lot of characters in here for an introduction. B mentioned in some notes that they said that they did shift some stuff around because they'd received feedback that when they did initially introduce the characters, it just felt like a list. In some ways, I feel like the list might be better because I found myself getting a little bit confused while reading it because we were already in the adventure. We were already, going into the dungeon, and I'm being introduced to a new character that has been there the whole time. I think it was Myra. But yeah, that just got confusing.
And Dania as well.
Yeah, that got confusing to me because I was like, oh, I didn't realize there were more people here.
Yeah, I feel like that could be very simply fixed with like a single sentence being like they gathered like a hunter, a ranger, and they call them different things. I forgot.
Yes.
They don't use the word ranger, which is what I commonly hear. But yeah.
Thalon was one of the deceased. Yes, it was Thalon.
Thalon, Myra, and Denai.
Yes. I did want to make a comment about this. Thalon is mentioned in the kitchen at the very start. Like, his name is mentioned, but he's already dead, from what I understand.
Yes, and there is a line that was used early. The Templar gave her a look before she pulled the helmet on. Within a third story perspective, obviously, we're not just watching through a character's eyes. We do have Kale as the main character. Distancing Kale from that observation and just having their sentence be the Templar, which, by the way, the Templar is Thalon, who's meant to be dead. Having that and the Templar being, the main to the sentence kind of implies that this is the Templar's perspective. And if the Templar's not there, it doesn't really make sense to have that in the story. It would make more sense if this was an observation that Kale was making. So, like, Kale noticed the Templar give her a look before she pulled the helm on. Just like small tweaks like that in the language.
And also, I feel like you could still, because for the kitchen scene, the only thing is that they talk about him like he's still alive. I think that could easily be tweaked. You could say things like it could be interpreted as he is dead or alive. I feel like that could be tweaked just to make it more concise to the story that he's already dead. He was one of the deceased.
I want to ask you, maybe I'm just stupid. I didn't know that they were dead at the end of my read-through. I thought that Ares had taken Kale to like a mind palace. Or had just like distanced him from reality for a minute. I didn't realize that they were dead until I was reading B's notes afterwards.
Well, that's a good segue onto my next bit. I also didn't realize that until I read B's notes afterwards, which brings me to my point that, because B did mention that they wanted to write the three deceased like they were Thalon and the others. I think this could have been done because there's not a lot of, you don't see that throughout the story. I feel like it could be done with just like a simple Thalon's like sleeve rolled down and there was black veins, which adds back to the three deceased bodies having black veins on them.
Or the runes.
At the right. Or the runes on the forehead, or like maybe to add to the sensory detail, maybe there is a growing stench over time.
Yeah, like the Kale could think it's just because they're going further into the catacombs.
Yeah, or just the smell of copper again.
Oh, yeah, the intense smell of copper.
Yes. Or which could, be like, oh, is that, like, her necklace? Like, is that just a real stinky necklace? Or are they all dead?
They all dead.
Yeah.
Or even, because I'm not sure if they're meant to be corporeal. Physical? Do you know corporeal?
No.
Okay.
What the hell
is
that?
Like, if I, touch you, my finger won't go through you?
Yeah.
That's you're corporeal.
So I don't... Just say ghost.
Okay, ghosts. I don't know if they're supposed to be, if you're supposed to be able to phase through them, but that could be another way to show that they're not really there, if there's some element of magic. Because Ares is meant to be the god of, death. I don't know if that trades into, shadows and stuff.
Is it Aries? I always thought it was Eris.
Eris? Oh, it might be Eris.
I don't
I'm
know.
probably pronouncing it wrong. Eris. We'll say Eris. I don't know if she would be able to make shadows or stuff, but I am a little confused as well if they're meant to be shadows or monsters or illusions.
I think illusions.
Illusions, yeah.
I can read the notes quickly.
Because, like, I don't have to suspend my disbelief to believe Kale didn't touch these people. Like, I don't think Kale was around here being like, high five!
Yeah.
But it could, like, lean interesting if someone they interacted with tried to, like, swipe something off them. If they're, like, you know, these are, like, thieves. Child thief is what... Oh, child thief. He could be trying to swipe something from one of the people, or they walk into a rock and they just be, I don't know. Like, something to show that they're not really there.
Yeah, and also to link them back to the 3 deceased bodies. Because
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we were smarter, we would have picked it up.
By the time I read that, I forgot there were 3 bodies.
But yeah, something to bring it back to that, I feel like. Just to make it more obvious for people like us.
Yeah, especially
That aren't always
because...
very smart.
Especially because, Thalen... Is that his name? Am I pronouncing it right?
I don't know. I thought it was Talon. I don't know. I don't know.
Thalen is how the name's spelled, by the way. So Thalen is obviously, like, a very high up person in the thing. Like, the High Seer, who is kind of top of the top, like, kind of handpicked these people to do this mission. Unless this mission's complete bollock.
Bollock.
Like, unless this mission is completely forged by Ares, and she is completely faking it just to get Kale on his own. The High Seer did put this band of people together. So, like, I don't understand how that would happen if Thalen was dead and had a funeral. I don't think the High Seer would have been like, you look like you're there. Let's send you on this mission. Yeah, and also just, yeah, the other 2 people are kind of not useless, unknown, I think is the word I'm trying to find. Where
Yeah, well, that's also because they're introduced very far into the story.
Yeah, it's kind of like, why were these people chosen? Because Kale didn't even seem weirded out that he was chosen. Like, why is Kale important? It says he's a thief. Is he in the gods because he tried to steal from a very important person? Is he someone who's helped these people before? There's not really why Kale was chosen, and Kale isn't really confused as to why the High Seer is like, I want you.
Yeah. It had been at the High Seer's order that Kale... That's the Navy. That Kale was to join the company, their guide through the Undercity, a child thief branded for the bread they gave to the hungry.
Oh, yeah, also, I've highlighted, and I'm about to out myself, is really stupid here. I've highlighted the sentence, branded for the bread they gave the hungry, because I don't know what that means. Can you explain that to me?
I think it means, like, punished for the bread they gave to the hungry. Because they probably stole bread from someone high
Oh, they stole bread and gave it to the
and
hungry.
have now been, like, possibly physically branded for being a thief.
Oh.
Like a
cow. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess that just ties into, like, why the High Seer chose Kale. If the High Seer is real?
Guess as well, if this is an introduction, we'll probably go into that later.
Yes. Oh, that's also what I wanted to get at. If this is a prologue,
we had a conversation about this before.
Kind of. I cut it off because I
cut it off.
Okay.
I cut it off.
Because prologues very rarely will follow the main character of a longer series.
And if you're me, you just skip them.
Yeah, they're very skippable. Usually they are used to set up a story that, like, earlier in the timeline, or they're from a different person's perspective, and they set up the structure to where the story will begin. They will be giving context clues to the settings and the scenario and the world that the rest of the story will take place in. So this would make sense as a prologue if Kale then becomes, like, for example, like, the big bad, like, the person that the new party, the party of the main series, like, decides to defeat, and then we know why Kale has this power. But this being used as a starting point for Kale's story, in my head, doesn't really work for a long story. Does that make sense to you? Or am I speaking?
I mean, it makes sense to me because it reveals little information about Kale while also having an understand of their character. But I mean, the story seems like it's gonna go with
Kale
and
with Ares, yeah.
Kale rather than what's happening here.
Mm.
I don't know. I thought it worked very well as an introduction, not a prologue.
Yeah, I think this works. I do think this works insanely well as a prologue, as long as these are not the characters that are being followed in the main story. But I think that's just because I read a lot of fantasy where you meet the main party in chapter 1. So you've got like the main character and their party, and maybe they'll meet more people along the way. But it seems that Kale is very separated. Like the party that you thought he was going to have, which was, you know, the cleric and the ranger. They're not called a ranger. I don't remember what word was used. The cleric and the ranger, and like, you know, you have all of these people that you thought were going to be in Kale's party, but they are not. They're illusions, and he's actually with this like goddess of danger. So it doesn't follow the natural progression of a fantasy story, which I know the writer, they said they wanted to try do. They were trying to lean very heavy into the full genre of fantasy, high fantasy. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't break from the stereotype of high fantasy, but just as a prologue, this makes sense if you're not following these characters in the main story. If you are, then this doesn't really make sense to me as a prologue. That's all I was going to say about that.
Is it tracker? Is that what you're trying to think
Tracker. Of? That is what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yes, the word tracker is used.
Yes.
Which I suppose would be like a rogue, not really a ranger. But
I don't have a damn clue. I don't know anything about this. I also wanted to mention the House MD little...
What's my necklace
What's my
made of?
necklace made of? Which I want to say, that's the only episode of House I've ever watched.
I've never watched any.
I only watched that episode, and that's, I think, a 2-parter, and I watched the second part, and that was it.
All I know is I had a big fat crush on Dr. 13.
I don't know who the hell that is. I've watched one episode.
And clearly she wasn't in it. Okay.
I didn't know what the hell was going on.
All right, let's move on before we start getting distracted by House MD.
I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, neither.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading my notes.
I'm reading a note that just says Sapphic ?
Sapphic?
It's about the two goddesses being like held in each other and like gazing upon their other half as if from love. But like actually reading it out, I think I realized they're meant to be like two sides of the same coin. Like they're kind of meant to be like yin and yang. They're kind of meant to be like one, but divided into two entities. But I just read as if from love, and I saw two women, and I wrote Sapphic.
Of course.
Sapphic story.
That's where your mind always goes.
Yes. Oh, this is very small and nitpicky, but just, especially when it comes to fantasy, the names of cities and towns are very similar to the names of people, because they're all kind of...
Yeah.
So Solmara is the city, and then I believe Fenrim is the world, but it did take me a while to realize because they described that the undying, it's not a curse, I'm going to say curse, the undying curse is only in Solmara, but Solmara is a city or a capital, so if people like leave and like go to the next town over, do they die? Do they die? Like,
do they just turn
but that doesn't make sense because all of these children, in quotation, as the title of children, are like so pissed that they can't grow up, but it's like you can leave the country.
Well, maybe they're on lockdown or something. Maybe we will get into that.
Yeah, I mean that could just be changed by saying Selmara. It's not Selmara that's been affected. It's the entirety of Faerun or Fenrium. Yeah, because it's just the city of Selmara that is affected. But Selmara, unless it's like an island and like there's no ships, I don't understand how you could be so pissed off that you're affected. It's like, bro, get on the next boat. Get on the next cruise line. Like we don't have to stay here.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
If they're on lockdown?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
'cause it's-
potentially if you're not going to know what the hell I'm on about. If this is potentially like a Fey realm situation where it's a completely other dimension that they need to travel to, that could be something else as well. Like if it's like they're on a different plane of existence, that could explain why they don't leave and why the gods have such effect and like ability over this space. Again, that would just have to be something you tap into much later down the line. I realize that anyone that doesn't know fantasy stuff is not going to know what I'm on about.
No, I don't.
Okay.
But
Hey,
to people that love fantasy, this is a great episode for you.
Yay! You can nerd out with me.
I have one note here. I did not finish this note properly. That just says, as a non-fantasy reader, it got confusing only sometimes, and the only note I wrote under that was, I don't know what a seer is, lol.
Yeah, I think we touched on that already. How it's
Yeah.
like the specific terms can be tricky, but
But a simple Google search.
a simple Google search. What did you find that high seer meant?
Hi, seer.
High seer.
I asked my brother's partner who loves fantasy, and I went, what does this mean?
And what did they say?
Like, I guess like a religious,
Religious figure.
like, sees into the future, and
You can gaze into the future.
wow.
They're actually singers. High singers is what they're called.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, little choir boys.
Oh, little choir boys.
Yeah, that was my awesome note. Yeah, I do just want to stress, like, the character arcs, because obviously the entire world has been written so beautifully. Like,
Yes.
I can immediately imagine what is happening, like, where they are, what it looks like, all the imagery. It's just the characters that fall very short, which obviously, and half of them are dead anyways, but I think just a little bit more so that when they do turn out to, like, be dead, there's a little bit of, oh,
Like, I liked them.
oh, that one.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm thinking this works as a prologue as well. Because to me, that doesn't really matter if these aren't the characters we're following. Like, again, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Season 1, Vox Machina, on Amazon Prime, you should watch it. When it opens up, you've got a group of people fighting a dragon, and they immediately die. And
That's like in Delicious in Dungeon. You
yes.
should watch that too.
And they immediately die, and then you cut over to the actual party, or the actual group of people that you're following for the rest of the story, and you see them, go through all the normal stuff. So it, like, sets up that this is a situation that's happening. These are the kind of people that you're going to meet and learn. Not the kind of people, like, the kind of classes is what they're officially called, rangers and clerics and stuff. So, like, if this is the prologue where you're not necessarily following these people, I don't think it matters so much that you don't really learn too much about them. But I do get what you're saying, where it's like...
Like, just a little bit of, like, oh, damn, like, they're dead.
Yeah, I liked her.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, some level of, I guess it'd be hard to do if they're not, like, able to touch each other, but if, one of them, like, saved Kale, if an arrow was about to shoot through him, and they're like, kaboom. They stopped it. Some level of, like, care, not even care, but duty towards each other to keep each other safe. They're obviously all here to figure out what's going on. Yeah, little things like that. Yeah. I thought that there was going to be some talk about women in this, especially when it was when Elra, before she's, revealed as the god, had to keep her, like, hood up. And the Temla, like, gave her a look and she had to pull her hood up and veil up. I thought there was going to be a little bit of commentary on, like, how religion is used a lot of the time to not even enslave, but to, what's the opposite of, like... what's the opposite of, like, liberation and stuff?
Oh my god, the words slipped from my head.
You looked at me like I was dumb.
What have you done to me?
I'm sorry.
Discriminate, not discriminate.
Not discriminate. To, like, oppose.
No. Oh.
We're pulling out the... Like, not withhold. Hold down.
Other words for description.
Synonym. We're writing students, please.
Damn it.
This is all we know how to do. We know how to write a word and then say synonym.
But no, I know what you mean.
Oppress. It's not
oppress. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I thought it was good, especially with in the next paragraph, it's the weight of the working class and religious enforced slavery pressed down on their shoulders. About passing through the town with the children, or I suppose smaller, younger people. Because they're not children. I guess we can just use children.
Well, that's the title they've been given now.
Yeah. So I thought there was going to be a bit of commentary on that. About how the women are expected to like cover their faces and stuff. But I guess that was just to keep her hidden.
I don't know.
Yeah, that line kind of confuses me. The Temla gave her a look.
I mean, it could just be because there's a knowledge between the two of them.
But one of them is dead.
Yeah, but maybe... I don't know. But, I don't know. I feel like in this story, it would be okay to just not touch on
Yeah, no, of
gender,
course.
I guess. I mean, Kale themselves go by they, them.
Yeah, I don't think Kale. I think I might have slipped up and called.
I did too.
Used to
It's
he,
okay.
him pronouns a few times.
But... Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
get what you're
doesn't seem
coming
like there is like gender commentary within this story.
it's more social class.
Yes,
and working
very
class.
much social and working class and upper class. Yeah, with the way the gods have, not even the gods, but the higher powers, the great, the high seer and stuff. Yeah, they're like, don't talk down on the gods. Which is kind of interesting, because that line came from Thalin. Careful, the order blesses us with their will, came from Thalin. But Thalin is talking through talking through Elra, who's created him to be alive. So maybe that's Elra being like, this don't make sense.
Well, I guess it would be interesting to go into that, like, what
Yes, speaking
the
through.
deceased, like, are they speaking through Elira? Are they...
Is like a puppeteer
like
kind of
the
situation.
souls of the deceased?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because she's the goddess of death. Is she withholding them from fully dying until she wants them to be dead? Is it not an illusion thing, but more of her, like, not letting their souls pass through to complete death?
Morally great character.
Morally great? I mean,
I
don't think she was ever supposed to be
the
a
whole
good character.
concept is that, hey, death's okay, guys. You don't have to live forever.
Yeah, you learn.
Death is an okay thing, and so is Elira, whatever. I forgot her goddess's name.
Ares? Ares? We're bad at names.
Yeah, there's a lot of names.
And they threw so many at us.
But yes, I did just want to say the language, the prose, like it's all so
It's so
beautifully
good.
done. Yeah, my only thing would just be character. And I mean, it depends where you're going with the characters, obviously.
Yeah, I will say I was very confused why we were following Kale. They didn't really stand out to me because I didn't know why they were important. Like, I didn't know why they were on this mission. It maybe would have made a little more sense to me if Kale themselves were really curious about that. Like, why did you choose me? Like, why am I here? Or, like, more context to where they were beforehand. Were they locked up?
Or even, like...
Were they branded? Like,
you
were
could have
insinuating?
chosen any thief. Why did you pick me?
Yeah. So, like, the fact that Kale was just like, yeah, they picked me. I'll go do it. Implies that there's, like, a level of them knowing why they were chosen, but we don't know why they were chosen by the High Seer to go on this mission. We don't know why they were chosen by Ares to be, I suppose, chosen to reclaim the future that was stolen from them. And maybe that's the point, but I also might be that's the pointing myself into a wall, because that's the point also has to make sense. Yeah. Is there something special about them? Could that be hinted at in this prologue to be explored later? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be interesting to look at. I mean, I think there's already, like, that special relationship between Eris and Kale.
And Kale. Do you think they've met before?
I mean, Eris is talking to Kale through Kale's dreams.
What? We have 5 minutes left on the clock.
God damn
I
it.
didn't pick it up at all.
The dreams about the cult? Is that what the dream? Where is it?
The children cult.
I think so.
The night of cold. It's a cult of children. I have heard that call. We all have. I just took that as like there was a cult. Like people rose. Like there was a rebellion, and they're like, you should join us and like fight back against the
dream. Hold up. In my dreams, this is where they died. The 3 departed from the square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kayla's just been showing future vision?
Yeah, Eris, well, at least that's what I took of it. Eris has been talking to Kale through the dreams and showing them, like, where to go.
Maybe he's the high seer. I didn't even pick up on that. I just thought maybe they had that in them.
Yeah.
Kale just got that future vision in them. I don't know. It's fantasy.
Yeah, and then it goes to the cult of the night.
Yeah, I don't think that's part of Elray's thing.
Yeah.
Elvira's thing, though.
I don't know, that'd be interesting to see where that goes.
I guess this goes back into my god thing. I'm trying to be very quick with this because we have very limited time. Just really specifying what abilities each god has. If this is meant to be the opposite to the golden light, which is like, you know, life and prosperity and all this stuff, the opposite to that, death and darkness and rot. I don't, like, dreams coming into it, you'd have to find kind of a loophole to make that work. Unless they were also the god of actual night time, and it was like daytime and nighttime. I guess you can forge it that way to make that a little more make sense. Especially if you've got all the other gods. It's like we've got god of war. You would kind of assume there was like another god of like astrology and night and stars and dreams. But if there's only 2 gods, the light of like light and the light of god of dark, then you can kind of play a bit more about them having like domain over like a much wider variety of things. But yeah, that just comes into like be careful about who you're making gods out of and who you're worshipping and what abilities you give to each god. Yeah.
I wanted to bring up a quick little line that I liked, which was from the In My Dreams, This Is Where They Died.
In my resting dreams. Sorry. I'm quoting Silent Hill.
In the language, the 3 who escaped the undying light, I just love the subtleties in the way that Kale talks about. Obviously, sometimes it's brought up, but in this case, no one blinked an eye. No one said anything when they said the 3 who escaped the undying light.
I'm so aware of the time, but I also need to bring up there's a line that kind of doesn't make too much sense to me. It's about the whispers of they'll bring them back. They always do. Does this imply that people have died before? And then the goddesses have brought them back to life?
That'll be interesting if that gets brought up.
Because it's like, these are the first people who have died since this curse happened, but also people have been brought back from the dead. Unless that actually plays a larger part in the story, it's a little bit confusing. But, yeah, just to finish it up, I love this story so much. I love high fantasy, y'all.
I love the story, and I don't care for high fantasy, so... I
love high fantasy. This is ticking every box. God,
but
I did not pick up on so much stuff. Thank you for explaining this to me.
I mean, this was just... It was such a...
Is this on The Burn?
No.
Have they got another story in The Burn?
They do. I'll link it in the YouTube video.
Yeah, you guys should definitely go check out Bee's writing. They're so talented. I feel like that's shown from this very short thing that they've submitted to us, which thank you so much, Bee. We appreciate it.
You.
Please go check out Bee's stuff on The Burn. Yeah.
If you would like to submit, I still don't know where to send you, but in some of your classes you might see a lovely PowerPoint that I made.
And some beautiful drawings.
And some beautiful drawings done by me. Yeah,
so
scan that QR code if you see it, please.
Put the QR code on your YouTube.
Yeah, but then some randoms might be scanning that.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're a Swinburne student, please scan that QR code so you can submit your writing to us, because if you don't submit the writing, we can't do this. And we really want to do this. We don't care how terrible your writing is.
And we'll give you guys chocolate eggs.
Yeah, I've started, If you submit your writing, I buy you a chocolate egg, which is what I've had to start to bribe people.
Please.
So please.
This is so much fun. We want to keep doing it.
Yeah, but we can't do it unless people like you submit your writing to us.
Yeah, and submit high fantasy stuff because I had a
Or
good time.
this is a threat. We'll have to start reading my writing.
No, please.
And you don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'd love to do that. Sorry. I apologize, Amy Anderson.
What the hell? Hey.
Doxing you.
Hey.
We got 20 seconds on the clock. Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
done.
you.
I'm so-
Thank you for listening to
Thank
the
you for
Plot
listening,
Thickens
guys.
on SwinRadio on Tuesdays at 3 p.m.
I'll have a new host next week.
No,
I'm
you
so
won't.
excited.
Outro. Plot Thickens.
Bye.
SwinRadio.
You are listening to SwinRadio.
Swin